Right. Let's talk about something in English grammar that trips up so many people. It's one of those puzzles that can be really confusing, and it's all about which kind of verb you use after another one. So let's just dive right in and figure this out. Have you ever stopped to think about this? Why is it we say, I enjoy walking, but then we say, I plan to walk? I mean, why does one verb need that ing form while the other needs two? Because, saying I enjoy to walk just sounds wrong. And the reason for that can be a little tricky. Today, we are absolutely going to solve this puzzle together.
I mean, just look at how small that difference is. A tiny little change from walking to walk can make a sentence sound completely off to a native speaker. But don't worry, by the end of this, you are going to have the rules and the confidence to get this right every single time.
So to solve our puzzle, we need to meet our two main players here, gerunds and infinitives. I know, they might sound a little complicated, but I promise you they're not. They're really just names for verbs that we tweak a little bit so they can do different jobs in a sentence. First up is the gerund. A gerund is just a verb where we've slapped ing on the end. But here's the cool part. It stops being a verb and starts acting like a noun. It basically becomes the name of an activity. So check out this sentence. Walking always puts me in a good mood. See, in this case, walking isn't an action that someone is doing right now. It's the thing, it's the noun that brings the happiness. It's the subject, just like dogs or pizza could be.
And this is a super important point. Not every single ing word is a gerund. On the left, walking is the thing Jenny enjoys. It's a noun. But on the right, walking is part of the verb is walking, telling us what she's actually doing. So one's a noun, the other's a verb. Big difference.
And our second tool? The infinitive. This one is even easier to spot. It's just the word to, plus the basic, no-frills version of the verb. To walk, to eat, to sleep. It's the verb in its most pure, simple form.
Okay, so now that we've met our tools, let's actually see how they work. The first place we'll look is at the beginning of a sentence, when they're acting as the subject. Let's see how that plays out. Using a gerund as the subject of a sentence is incredibly common, and it just sounds really natural in English. Playing the guitar, baking, reading, these are all activities that are the star of their own sentence. It's smooth, it's simple, it just works. Now, you can use an infinitive as the subject, but just listen to the difference here. Singing gives me great pleasure. Sounds totally normal, right? To sing gives me great pleasure. It's not grammatically wrong, but it sounds much more formal, maybe even a little bit poetic or old-fashioned. So for just everyday conversation, the gerund is usually your best bet. All right, let's get to the main event. This is the big one, the part that really causes most of the confusion. What do you use after the main verb in a sentence? Well, this is where that main verb starts calling all the shots. So let's start with the easy stuff, the good news. There are some really nice flexible verbs out there that honestly don't care which one you use. You can follow them with a gerund or an infinitive, and the meaning is going to be pretty much the same. For instance, she hates sleeping late, or she hates to sleep late. Guess what? Both are perfect. We prefer eating at home, or we prefer to eat at home. Yep, both work beautifully. So verbs like love, hate, prefer, start, they give you this wonderful freedom to choose. But now we get to the strict ones. Our next group of verbs are very particular. They will only allow a gerund to follow them. If you try to stick an infinitive after them, it's just going to sound wrong. Take a look at these. Notice how Wendy enjoys watching movies sounds perfectly right, but Wendy enjoys to watch movies? Ugh, no, that just doesn't work. Same thing for denied cheating and suggested bringing. These verbs are basically in a committed relationship with the ing form. And I'm sure you can guess what's coming next. We have another group of verbs that are just as strict, but they demand the total opposite. These verbs have to be followed by an infinitive. This list has a lot of verbs that are about future ideas, things you hope for, or decisions you make. You want to travel, you plan to quit, you agree to speak. For these kinds of verbs, that to form is the only option that works. Okay, I know what you're thinking. That is a lot of lists to try to memorize. So, what do you do when you're in the middle of a sentence and you're just not sure? Well, here is a handy little trick that can often point you in the right direction. Just think about the timing of the actions. If the second action happens after the main verb, like first he wants, then he's going to eat, you'll often use an infinitive. But if both actions are happening at the same time, like the liking and the eating are all part of one experience, you'll often use a gerund.
Now, it's not a 100% perfect rule, but it is a fantastic mental shortcut. So look, if you only remember one thing from all of this, let it be this. The key to this whole puzzle isn't really the gerund or the infinitive, it's the main verb that comes right before it. That first verb is the boss. It's the one that dictates what comes next.
So now you have the tools and you have the rules. You know that you enjoy learning English, and you probably plan to practice what you've just learned. The best way to make all of this stick is to actually use it. So I'm curious, what's the first sentence you're going to build with your new grammar superpowers?